There is a question I have been asking myself for a few weeks now. A seemingly simple question, but one that has taken me in directions I didn't expect. What does it mean to be invincible? Not invincible like in the movies. Not invincible in the sense that nothing could reach us, where we would be armored, impermeable, untouchable. No, something different, something more subtle and more profound. The other night, I was reading Marcus Aurelius without looking for anything in particular, just to read, to let those words take effect. And I came across a passage I had read dozens of times, a passage I thought I understood, but then something changed. He writes, "Retire into yourself." The rational principle which rules has this nature. It is content with itself when it does what is just, and by so doing, secures tranquility. Now, put that way, I admit it might seem a bit complicated, but actually, if we take the time to really look at what he's telling us, it is of a disarming simplicity. When he talks about retiring into oneself, he isn't asking us to flee the world or to isolate ourselves. What he means is that we spend our lives looking outside for things that can only exist inside. We wait for our situation to improve to feel at peace. We wait for the people around us to change so we can feel better. We wait for the world to become less chaotic so we can finally breathe. But Marcus Aurelius tells us, this waiting is an illusion because the world will never truly calm down and others will not change to please you. So, rather than waiting for a calm that will not come from the outside, create it on the inside. And when he talks about being self-sufficient, there again, it is not a call to live alone or reject others. It is something else. It's about stopping your stability from depending on what people think of you, what they say to you, or how they react. You know that feeling when someone makes a remark and it ruins your whole day, or when you wait for validation that doesn't come and it eats away at you. That is exactly what he is pointing out. To be self-sufficient is to understand that what truly governs you is never what happens to you. It is always the way you choose to respond to it. And the calm he speaks of at the end, it is not a calm that depends on circumstances. It is not being serene because everything is going well. It is being serene because your inner compass stays straight, even when everything is swaying around you. And that, fundamentally, is being invincible in the Stoic sense. It is not being stronger than the world. It is no longer letting yourself be carried away by it. It is having built within yourself a place where no one enters without permission. A place that neither noise, nor fear, nor agitation can invade, where the storms outside come to break without ever reaching the center. A simple, silent, stable place, a place of peace in the middle of chaos. And I wondered, is it possible? Is it really possible to build that in the world we live in, with everything that bombards us, everything that solicits us, everything that tries to reach us at every moment? I believe so. I believe it is possible. Not easy, not fast, but possible. And that is what I want to talk to you about today. 6 rules, 6 principles drawn from Stoic wisdom that can help us build this inner place to become, in a way, invincible. Not invincible in the sense that nothing bad will happen to us. Difficult things will happen. It's guaranteed. Life spares no one. But invincible in the sense that whatever happens, we will remain standing. We will remain ourselves. We will not be swept away by the waves. So take the time to settle in. What we are going to explore together is important. It's the kind of thing that can change a year, perhaps change a life. The first rule, do not have an opinion on everything. Marcus Aurelius writes somewhere in his Meditations a sentence that troubled me for a long time. He says, remember that you always have the power to have no opinion. The power to have no opinion. When I read that for the first time, I didn't understand. What do you mean, not have an opinion? We always have an opinion on everything. No, it's automatic. Something happens, we react, We judge. We think something. That's how the human mind works. And then I started to observe, to really observe what was happening in my head. Most of my opinions weren't really mine. They came from elsewhere, from information I had absorbed, from opinions I had heard, from reactions I had seen in others, and that I had adopted without realizing it. Think about it for a second. Having an opinion is engaging. It's taking a stand. It's creating a link with something at tension. And that tension occupies space in your head. It demands attention. It generates emotions. Have you ever noticed how certain subjects can haunt you? You scroll, you come across something that upsets you, and 3 hours later, you're still thinking about it. You imagine debates in your head. You formulate arguments. You mentally argue with people who will never know you exist. And during that time, your real life is on pause. Look at what's happening right now. We are bombarded, absolutely bombarded, with information, news, scandals, polemics, debates, controversies. Every day, there is something new trying to capture our attention. Something that asks us to react, to judge, to take a stand. And most people dive in. They have an opinion on everything. On what that politician said, on what that celebrity did, on this new trend, this scandal, this controversy. They get angry, debate, argue, and fight with strangers on the internet. They spend hours defending positions on subjects that have absolutely no impact on their real lives. And at the end of the year, what will they have gained? Nothing, absolutely nothing. They will have lost time, energy, and inner peace. They will have fed negative emotions. They will have participated in wars that were not theirs. Marcus Aurelius, if there was anyone who had reasons to have opinions on everything, it was him. And yet, he constantly reminded himself that he could choose not to have any. He even writes, "Things themselves do not touch the soul. They stay outside, immobile. Troubles only come from our inner opinion." Do you understand what he's saying? It isn't the event that disturbs us. It's our opinion of the event. And if we have no opinion, if we consciously choose not to have one, then the event loses its power over us. It stays outside, immobile, unable to reach us. Now, I hear you already. But wait, there are real injustices in the world. There are things that deserve our indignation. We can't just close our eyes and act like everything is fine. And you are right. Absolutely right. The Stoics never said to become indifferent to injustice. Marcus Aurelius himself spent his life trying to govern justly, to protect the weakest, to do what he believed was right. The Stoics believed deeply in right action. But here is the difference, and it is important. There is a huge difference between being indignant on the internet and acting concretely, between having a burning opinion on a subject and doing something that actually changes things, between arguing with strangers and helping someone right in front of you. The real question is not, does this injustice deserve my indignation? The real question is, will my indignation change anything? And if so, what am I doing concretely? Because indignation without action is just noise. It's energy going up in smoke. You can spend hours getting angry about an injustice, and in the end, nothing has changed. Except you. You are exhausted, anxious, drained. So yes, get involved. But get involved for real. If something revolts you, ask yourself what you can do concretely. Give your time, your money, your energy. Act locally where you can have a real impact. There is an experiment I would like to propose to you. The next time a controversy breaks out, the next time everyone gets fired up about a subject, ask yourself these two questions. Does this really concern me? And can I do something concrete? If the answer to both is no, then let it pass. Don't take a stand, don't judge, don't engage. Observe the event, note that people are reacting, and go on with your life. It's difficult at first. We are so used to reacting automatically, jumping at every stimulus, but with practice, it becomes easier, and above all, you start to feel something, a space opening up, a lightness, a freedom you didn't suspect. Because all that energy we were spending on having opinions on everything, we can redirect it. We can focus it on what really matters, on our loved ones, our projects, our lives, the concrete actions we can take, the battles we truly choose to fight. Now, let's move to the second rule. Stop wasting your time. There is a text by Sénèque that has stayed with me for years. It's called On the Brevity of Life. And from the very first lines, he confronts us with something disturbing. He writes, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." My first reaction was to protest. Of course, we don't have enough time. The days are too short. The weeks fly by, the years soar. We are always running, and we never manage to get everything done. But Sénèque insists. He says, life is not short. A year is an enormous amount of time, if you know how to use it. A year is an enormous amount of time. 365 days, 8,760 hours, 525,600 minutes. When you really think about it, it's staggering. We could do so many things with all that time. Learn a language, write a book, transform our body, build something meaningful, deepen relationships, travel, create, live. And yet, where does all that time go? Sénèque had a brilliant observation about human behavior. He noticed that people are extremely protective of their money. If someone tried to steal their wallet, they would react immediately. If someone trespassed on their property, they would defend themselves. They jealously guard their possessions, count their money, worry about their investments. But time we give to anyone. We let it slip away without the slightest resistance. And you have surely experienced this. Someone asks you for an hour for a meeting that could have been an email. You say yes. Someone drags you into a conversation that goes in circles. You stay out of politeness. You open your phone to check one thing, and 45 minutes later, you're still scrolling without knowing how you got there. And that hour you just lost, you will never get it back. Never. Money, you can earn back. Possessions, you can replace. But time is the only truly non-renewable resource. Every minute that passes is lost forever. Every hour wasted is an hour of life that will not return. Sénèque writes, "Gather and preserve all your time. Some is taken from us, some is stolen, or some slips away. But the most shameful of all losses is that which comes through our own negligence. The most shameful of all losses, the one that comes from our negligence. Not the time stolen from us, but the time we let go through inattention, laziness, or lack of awareness." I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, just for yourself in your head. How did you use your time this week? Not in theory, but in practice, concretely. How many hours did you spend on your phone? How many hours in front of screens, watching things you've already forgotten? How many hours in empty conversations? How many hours worrying about things you don't control? How many hours procrastinating, avoiding, pushing things back? And now, how many hours did you spend on what really matters to you, on your projects, your passions, your deep relationships, your health, your development? I know for most of us, the disproportion is terrifying. We waste our time on things of no importance. We let it slip away into distractions, useless worries, activities that bring us nothing. And then we complain about not having time to do what we really want to do. But the time, we have it. We have always had it. We just waste it. That's all dot. And here, I know what you might be saying. Yes, but for me, it's different. I have a job that takes all my time. I have responsibilities. I have constraints. I can't just decide to use my time however I want. And it's true. We don't all have the same control over our schedule. We don't all have the same obligations, and Seneca himself recognized this. He spoke of the time taken from us, stolen from us. He knew that certain hours escape us in spite of ourselves. But here is the honest question. Even in the hours that truly belong to you, those where you are free to choose, what do you do with them? In the evening when your workday is done, the weekend, those moments of pause, those hours stolen here and there, what do you really do with them? That is what Seneca points out. Not the time taken from you, but the time you give away without even realizing it. There is something particularly insidious about how we lose our time today. Distractions are designed to be addictive. Notifications are calibrated to capture our attention. Algorithms are optimized to keep us glued to our screens. You know that feeling. You say, "I'll just look for 5 minutes." And 2 hours later, you're still there, eyes tired, without even remembering what you watched. And the worst part is you don't even feel rested. You feel emptier than before. Because that's the trap. We tell ourselves we're relaxing, that we need to decompress, that we deserve a break. And it's true, we do need rest. But scrolling for hours is not rest. Watching videos in a loop without ever stopping is not relaxation. It is exhaustion disguised as leisure. Real rest is something else. It's a walk. It's a conversation with someone you love. It's a book. It's silence. It's something that fills you up instead of draining you. Seneca didn't know about smartphones. He didn't know about social networks, but he knew human nature. He knew that humans have always had a tendency to waste their time, to let themselves be distracted, to flee what really matters, to take refuge in what is easy and immediate. He wrote 2,000 years ago, "We complain about the hardness of fate, of the brevity of life. No one wants to recognize that they are the primary architect of it." Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself of his own mortality, not in a morbid way, but in a practical way. He wrote, "Think of all the time you have lost by not employing it for what was truly useful, and you will understand how many years were snatched from you without you noticing. Years were snatched from you." It's a terrifying question when you really think about it. All those hours spent scrolling through news feeds, all those evenings lost in front of content you've already forgotten, all those empty conversations, those useless worries, those distractions that brought you nothing. And the most tragic part is that we start again the next day, and the day after, and the following week. We know we're wasting our time, and we continue to waste it as if we had an infinite reserve, as if it didn't matter. But it does matter. It matters enormously, because the time we waste is life we waste. Every hour lost is an hour we could have truly lived. Every day wasted is one day less in an existence that has a finite number of them. Seneca wrote, "None of what you see lives long, but much can live." For life is not just existence. It is the awareness we have of it. Being alive and truly living are not the same thing. We can spend years on autopilot without ever really being present, without ever really directing our life consciously. We can go through existence like a sleepwalker, waking up from time to time to notice that time has passed without us noticing. Or we can choose to truly live, to be present, to be conscious, to use our time with intention, with attention, with respect for its priceless value. Tonight, before sleeping, ask yourself this question: how did I use my time today? Not to guilt yourself, but to become aware, to adjust, to remind yourself that every day counts, every hour counts. That time is precious and deserves to be treated as such. Time is the only thing we can never get back. Act. The third rule: challenge yourself constantly. We've reached the halfway point. And this third rule is perhaps the most counterintuitive of all. Maybe it will even make you raise an eyebrow, because we spend our lives trying to make things easier, more comfortable, more pleasant. It's normal. It's human. No one wakes up in the morning saying, "Hey, today I'm going to look for difficulty." We want comfort, we want ease, we want things to go well. The Stoics did exactly the opposite. Seneca, who was one of the richest men in Rome, had a strange practice. Several times a year, he lived like a poor man. He slept on a hard mattress. He ate the simplest food. He wore coarse clothes. He voluntarily deprived himself of all the luxury he had access to. Imagine a billionaire today deciding to sleep on the floor, eat white rice for a week, and dress in clothes found in a thrift store. We'd take him for a fool or someone preparing a Netflix documentary on minimalism. But Seneca had his reasons, and when you understand them, they are brilliant. He wrote to his friend Lucilius, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?' You know that feeling? You dread something for weeks. You think about it at night, you avoid it, you push it back, and then one day, you have no choice, you do it. And it wasn't that terrible, sometimes even quite simple. And you find yourself saying, 'All that stress for this, really?' Most of our fears are ghosts, mental constructions that seem terrifying from afar, but evaporate as soon as we look them in the face. We are afraid of discomfort. We are afraid of losing what we have. We are afraid of lacking, and this fear controls us. It pushes us to accumulate, to secure, to avoid anything that looks even remotely like a risk. It makes us slaves to our little comfort, and that's where it gets interesting. The more attached you are to your comfort, the more fragile you become. Think of that person who cannot function without their exact morning coffee, without their perfect temperature, without their hours of sleep, without their little reassuring routine. The slightest unexpected event, and it's a tragedy. The slightest grain of sand, and everything collapses. Now, think of someone who has trained themselves in discomfort. Someone who knows they can survive a bad night. Someone who has already known difficult moments and has gotten back up. That person is free, truly free, because they know they can handle what comes. Seneca wrote, "Start to hold commerce with poverty. Dare, O my dear Lucilius, to despise riches." This isn't masochism. It isn't a glorification of suffering for suffering's sake. It is training like a boxer who trains to take hits so as not to collapse on the day of the fight. Epictète, who had been a slave and knew what it was to truly suffer, taught his students that difficulties are opportunities. He said, "Circumstances do not make the man, they only reveal him to himself." Every difficulty is a mirror. It shows you who you really are when things get tough, and often you discover you are more solid than you thought. Look around you. People who have always had everything they wanted, who have never really struggled, who have never been confronted with adversity, how do they react to obstacles? Often, they panic. They don't know what to do because they never learned. And now, think of those who have been through trials, those who have known truly difficult moments and came out of them. Often, they are the calmest when everything goes wrong. Not because they are insensitive, but because they know deep down that they can survive the storms. They have already done it. Now, I'm not telling you to go live in a cave or to flagellate yourself every morning. That would be strange and probably not very useful for your social life. But you can start small. Take a cold shower from time to time. I know, put like that, it sounds horrible. The first time, your body will protest. Your brain will beg you to stop. And then after 30 seconds, something happens. You realize you aren't going to die, that it's just cold, unpleasant. Yes, but bearable. And when you get out of that shower, there is this little pride, this feeling of having done something difficult before your day even starts. Skip a meal voluntarily, not to lose weight or follow a trend, but to familiarize yourself with the sensation of hunger, to remind yourself that it is just a sensation, not a vital emergency. Our brain is convinced we will die if we don't eat every 4 hours. That is false. And knowing that truly in your body, not just in your head, liberates you. Do something that scares you. That conversation you've been putting off for months. That project that intimidates you. That situation you avoid because it makes you uncomfortable. Go toward that thing. Not next week, this week. Because here is the truth the Stoics understood. Life will test you. It's guaranteed. Tough moments will happen to you. Unforeseen events, losses, difficulties you hadn't anticipated. The question is not whether it will happen. It's whether you will be ready when it does. And the best way to prepare is not to wait for difficulty to come to you. It is to go toward it voluntarily, regularly, in small doses. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The fire that is strong transforms into itself everything that is thrown into it." Become that fire. Become someone who transforms obstacles into fuel. Someone whom discomfort can no longer reach because they have already tamed it. The fifth rule, do not suffer more than necessary. We are nearing the end, and this fifth rule touches on something we all do every day without even realizing it. There is a sentence by Sénèque that should be tattooed somewhere where we can read it every morning. A sentence so simple we could miss it, but so profound when we really let it sink in. He writes, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." Listen to that again slowly. He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. Do you see what he's saying? We add suffering to ourselves voluntarily, for free. We suffer twice, 3 times, 10 times for things that only deserved a single dose of pain, sometimes even for things that never happen. You know this? You have something important coming up. An interview, a difficult conversation, a medical exam, a decision to make, and instead of waiting for the moment to come, you start suffering now. You imagine all the scenarios. You project yourself into the worst. You toss and turn in bed at 3 a.m. replaying conversations that haven't happened yet. And the day arrives. And often, it wasn't that terrible. Sometimes it even went well. And you realize you wasted entire days being anxious for nothing. You experience the suffering without even having the problem. Sénèque adds elsewhere, "There are more things that frighten us than things that hurt us, and we suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think of your own life honestly. How many times have you worried about something that finally never happened? That message someone didn't reply to, and you imagined they hated you. That weird pain you Googled and were convinced was a rare disease. That project at work that was bound to go wrong, and then nothing. The message arrived. The person was just busy. The pain disappeared on its own. The project went well, and you had already suffered for days over ghosts. I'll tell you something. There was a period when I was waiting for important results. I won't go into details, but it was the kind of situation that could change quite a few things in my life. And I spent weeks in anguish, entire weeks, imagining the worst, building catastrophe scenarios in my head as if I were being paid for it. My sleep was destroyed, my concentration non-existent, my ability to enjoy anything zero. I was physically there, but mentally elsewhere, stuck in a hypothetical future that didn't even exist yet. And when the results arrived, you know what I realized? That all this suffering had strictly changed nothing. Not a single one of my imaginary scenarios had influenced reality. I had just lost weeks of my life torturing myself for free. That is the trap. We believe that worrying is preparing, as if suffering in advance would vaccinate us against real pain, as if anxiety were a kind of emotional insurance. But the opposite happens. Worrying vaccinates you against nothing. It weakens you. It consumes resources you will need later. It's like an athlete running a marathon the day before their competition to prepare. They would arrive exhausted at the moment they truly need their strength. Now, care. I'm not telling you to be naive. I'm not telling you to stick your head in the sand. The Stoics themselves practiced what they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of possible evils. They thought ahead about difficulties to be prepared. But there is a huge difference between preparing and being anxious. Imagine two people who must cross a potentially dangerous forest. The first looks at the map, identifies the risk zones, prepares what they need, and then sets off focused, present, ready to react if something happens. The second spends days imagining all the wild animals they might encounter, all the ways they could get lost, all the possible catastrophes. They no longer sleep, they no longer eat, and when they finally enter the forest, they are already exhausted, nervous, unable to react correctly to the slightest noise. Which of the two has the best chance of getting through? Preparation makes you stronger. Anxiety drains you before the fight even starts. And that is where you have to be honest with yourself. When you find yourself ruminating at 3 a.m., are you really preparing? Are you developing a plan? Are you moving toward a solution? Or are you going in circles? Are you replaying the same film on a loop without ever getting anywhere? You know the answer. We all know it. There is a form of wisdom in accepting our powerlessness over certain things. It isn't resignation. It is intelligence. It is recognizing that your mental energy is a limited, precious resource, and that wasting it on ghosts is robbing yourself. Difficult moments will happen to you. That is life. No one escapes it. But when they arrive, you will cross them. You will find the resources. You will adapt. Humans are surprisingly resilient against real problems. It is against imaginary problems that we collapse. Do not suffer more than necessary. Life will take care of giving you your dose of difficulty. No need to add more yourself. The sixth rule: if you want a rich year, reduce your desires. Here we are, the last one, and it is perhaps the one that goes most against the grain of everything we usually hear. Sénèque writes, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." This sentence had flipped my head the first time I read it because it inverts everything. We think wealth is having a lot, that poverty is having little, that to feel rich we must accumulate, earn more, possess more, achieve more. But that isn't how it works. Not really. Look around you. There are people who earn fortunes and always feel they are lacking, who have the house, the car, the full bank account, and who still look elsewhere with envy. And there are people who objectively have little, but who radiate something peaceful, something light, as if they had understood a secret the others don't have. The secret is the gap. Wealth isn't what you possess. It is what you possess, minus what you desire. If you have 10 and you want 100, you feel poor. If you have 10 and you want 5, you feel rich. It's mathematical, and the variable over which you have the most control is not what you possess, but what you desire. We live in a world that does everything to widen this gap. Advertisements, social networks, constant comparisons with others. Everything is designed to make you feel that you don't have enough, that you aren't enough. That happiness is always just around the corner after the next purchase, after the next promotion, after the next level. And we run without stopping. We reach an objective, and before even taking the time to catch our breath, we set another. We get something and the satisfaction lasts, a few days, a few weeks, and then it's become normal, and we're already looking elsewhere. You know that feeling? You wanted something for a long time. You got it, and after a while, you didn't even see it anymore. It was just there, blended into the background, and you were already staring at the next thing. It's a hamster wheel, and the hamster is us. The thing is, we can get off this wheel not by finally having enough. That will never happen. The enough recedes as we advance. We get off by changing our perspective, by learning to see what we have instead of staring at what is missing. I'm not telling you to renounce all ambition. I'm not telling you to settle for crumbs. You can have projects. You can want to create things, accomplish things, grow. But do it without desperately clinging to the result. Do it because the path is worth it, not because you absolutely need to get somewhere to finally be well. Because if you need to reach something to be at peace, you will never be at peace. There will always be a next thing, always a next level, always a next desire. Peace, it is available now in what you already have, in what is already there around you, if you take the time to see it. There is a simple exercise. Imagine losing what you have, your home, the people you love. Not to make you sad, but to realize how rich you already are. To feel now the gratitude we usually only feel after losing something. We spend our lives waiting to have more to be grateful. What if we inverted that? What if we started with gratitude? This year, instead of asking how to have more, ask yourself a different question. What do I really need to be at peace? Not what society tells me, not what the ads try to sell me, not what my neighbor possesses. Truly, honestly, what is essential? You might discover it's much less than you thought, that many of your desires aren't even yours, that they were absorbed, copied, or imported without reflection, and that your life would be lighter with fewer things to pursue. The recipe for a rich year is not to accumulate more. It is to appreciate better, to reduce the gap. It is to find peace in what is, instead of always running toward what could be. Before finishing, I want to tell you something true. These 6 rules, I didn't invent them. I discovered them years ago in books written by people who died 20 centuries ago. And at first, I read them like one reads anything fast, distractedly, thinking I understood, but I understood nothing. It was life that made me understand. The failures, the difficult nights, the moments when I felt like everything was slipping away. That is when these sentences started to make sense. Not in my head, but in my gut. And I'll be honest with you, I am not a sage. I am not someone who has understood everything and who comes down from the mountain to distribute truths. I am someone who struggles, who doubts, who makes mistakes. I still happen to lose hours on my phone when I had important things to do. I still happen to let myself be carried away by emotions for situations that didn't deserve it. I still happen to wake up at 3 in the morning with anxiety for things that probably won't ever happen. I fall often, but I get back up, and maybe that is the essential thing. These principles aren't something we learn once, and then it's done. They are something we forget and remind ourselves of, that we lose and find again. A conversation we have with ourselves, over and over, day after day. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world. He commanded legions. He decided the fate of millions of people, and every night until the end of his life, he sat down and wrote to remind himself of the basics, to return to the essential, because he knew that even he, with all his power and all his wisdom, needed that daily reminder. If he needed it, then we do too. There will be moments this year when you will forget everything we said. Moments when you will let yourself be carried by the current, where you will lose your footing, where you will fall back into old patterns. That is normal. It isn't a failure. It's just life. The important thing is not to never fall. It is to come back, to remember, to start again one more time with a little more gentleness toward yourself. Every morning is a new page. If you are still here after all this time, it's because something in you is looking for this. This peace, this solidity, this center. And the simple fact that you are looking for it is already huge. In a world that does everything to distract you, to scatter you, to keep you in the noise, you chose to stop. to listen, to reflect. That counts more than you think. So thank you, truly. Thank you for taking this time. Thank you for staying until here. If this video brought you something, even just one idea, even just one moment of clarity, then it will have served its purpose. And if you want to let me know, a like is simple, but it helps me continue. It shows me that this work has meaning, that these hours spent looking for the right words weren't in vain. And if you reach the end, really until the end, I'd like to read you. Leave me a word in the comments. Tell me which rules spoke to you the most, or simply tell me you were here. I wish you a different year, not necessarily easier, but clearer, more grounded, more yours. I wish you moments where you feel that peace we talked about, that calm that comes when you finally stop fighting against what is. I wish you the courage to protect what matters and let go of what doesn't, even if it's scary, even if others don't understand. And I wish you to find that inner place, that refuge that no one can take from you, that center that is already there somewhere in you, and that is just waiting for you to come home. Happy New Year from the bottom of my heart. We'll see each other very soon. Take care of yourself, truly.